Hey guys, it's Lori with LM's Crafty Creations. I have a new countrycraftcreations.com design team project to share with you. I have created a rather large album. This one is a 9 by 10.5 album. Probably the largest album that I've actually created myself. It's big. I don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted a big album. So here it is. Um, so on the front, because it's so large, I had a hard time stretching the papers. I did use every single bit of paper that I had, which is my own fault because I just made it so huge. So I had one collection pack at least, and then several sheets of this solid colors to go with the collection. So I've added some cut aparts here, as you can see, that were really cute. And then I have this one that actually pulls out because these are photo corners. They're getting a little beaten up, so I think I'm going to have to put some glossy accents or something over them to keep them looking good. But you could put your own photo there if you choose, or you could just permanently glue down this absolutely adorable sloth. On the spine, it's a 2.5-inch spine. And I just did some leftover pattern paper just because I just like that kind of collage-y kind of scrap look. And then on the back I did this adorable alphabet paper, alphabet animals. I thought that was so cute. So on the inside, I did a stacked pocket on the front cover because it was so large. I did two. And then I just have these cut aparts that I've created. I have a strip of the sticker from the collection going down the side. And then on these, just cut aparts and then just a little bit of decorating here. And then on this side, this album is similar to the one that I created for the Craftology box for last month or this month, whatever month it is. I guess today's the last day of March, so and I did the same thing, but I added a pocket here, and my theme has been simplicity lately, so I've just been doing simple designs that are easy and fast to do. So you can just go grab a quick project when you need a gift or whatever, and or just want to throw some photos in. However, this does take quite a bit of design paper. I'll warn you about that. Get at least 2 packages. Here I've done, like I said, I did this flip out, if I can get it out without hitting my camera. And I've added some of my cardstock from my own stash. So this brown cardstock and this gray is also from my stash. And I've just decorated the front, super cute. And then I left them plain on the inside. This is just some gray cardstock because it's mostly sized to just fit photos. But you could absolutely decorate those up as well, depending on what orientation your photos are, either portrait or landscape. So this lifts up, and then I just have a cut apart in this pocket, but so many more photo mats will fit in this pocket. And then I gave you enough gussets and a large enough spine to be able to really decorate this to the nines if you want to, and add a million photo mats because the pages are fairly skinny. So on this side, I've added this adorable ribbon that was given to me as part of my design team package. And then I have just photo mats here. And on this particular album, like I said, you could do the place photo here mats and actually glue them all the way down. I know some people only temporarily do that. I don't do that. I always glue them down. And sometimes I cut my photos a little, like a 1/4 of an inch smaller on each side, and I let the white show through because I like the way it looks. So I have 2 cut aparts here, and here they have this adorable train image from the zoo. I didn't want to cut it up, but I didn't have a large enough space to put it besides right here. So I went ahead and stuck it there and thought it was super cute. And I just made a pocket out of the design team paper. Design team? No, out of the design paper. On this side, I just have a simple stacked tag pocket. I've used my envelope punch board here to make the notches, and then I just created some tags on my own using the ephemera and stickers from the collection that I thought was really cute. There's those two, and then here's these two. Isn't that cute? My spirit animal, and then again that don't feed the animals. Super cute. And then I just rounded the corners of those. Those are 3x4 photos, but this pocket will hold, I think, a 4 and a, let me not say that. Nah, a 4-inch photo mat is what that will hold max. Okay. So on this side, I have again the flip up that pulls out, but I'm not going to pull all of these out, and I've just double layered it here. And then again, I have another cut apart here. And then just design paper and flip it out. Now this side is, this part will be different on this one. So I have the zoo map, which is really cute. I made a pocket out of the design paper again, and then I have these cut aparts. The only gripe I have with this collection is that they should have made these words a lighter color, because you can barely see those. They're really dark, so I wish they would have made them white. That would have been much better on that color background. I've done a cut apart here, a photo mat here, and then I just have a small photo mat in this pocket, but again, it will hold a lot more. And then flip the page, and then this gave me an excuse to use this animal print acetate that I have, and this comes from the We Are Memory Keepers pad of acetate. I usually buy it off Amazon, and I love it. And then this has a magnetic closure. And I don't have anything in it, but you could put tons of things in there. And it just magnetizes closed. Here, again, the flip up with some a cut apart. And then here is the photo mat. That's a 4x6. And then it flips over, and I've done a little layout here. The idea behind this album was more of like an actual photo album. So I have a 4x4, a 4x6, stickers from the collection, a cut apart, and again, just some paper and photo mats. These are 4x4s. And then here again, I made my own photo mats with the stickers that I had left, and I thought that they were super cute. Again, here are these. This one will hold a larger one because it keeps sinking down into the pocket. Because this pocket goes all the way down. Here I have, again, another flap. I've added the cute seam binding here, and then it flips up, and again, more cut aparts that I've decorated into photo mats. And then it flips. On this side, I wanted to do 3 photos in a row, so these are 3x4 photos, and then I wanted to include this very lovely butterfly print that I thought was beautiful. And here is a cut apart, another photo mat, and then there is, I figured you could put a small photo right here and on the back. And then again, we have the acetate pocket, super cute, and more cut aparts in the back stacked pockets. And then I love this print. So really cute album, cute paper, obviously perfect for a trip to the zoo or any kind of safari adventure. So we're going to go right into the tutorial. Okay, so we're going to start with the base pages. Let me get all of my crafty tools out here. I'm going to need a ruler for this one, some scissors of course. I use my art glitter glue to adhere all of my pages together. You're going to need a craft knife this time. And then a pencil. This is my scoring tool, although all of my items will already be scored. And then a bone folder. And I'm going to use my little We Are Memory Keepers self-healing mat. And let's see, let me find the base page. That goes together, this goes together. Okay, here's the base page. I've already created one base page for us so that you don't have to sit through me making two. And there's this. Okay. So for the base page, I've covered up all of my measurements over here. I need to move my stack of papers. Alright. You're going to need one piece of cardstock cut to 8 by 10. Now for the base pages, for however many pages you want to include in your album, that's how many of these you want to cut out. So I did 4 pages, so if you want to copy mine, you would need 4 of these at 8 by 10. And then you would need 4 of these at 8.5 by 10.5. And then you're going to score on the 8.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 10 inch side at 1/2 inch. So make sure that your score line is like a backwards L going this way, okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to miter our corner right here where those score lines meet, just like we would a regular pocket. And we're going to fold on this score line. And we're going to glue this down this way so that the opening is right here. This part will attach to your binding system, and this part will be open for your flap. So we're going to take our glue, and I'm going to stick it down. Make sure you line it up good on all the sides. That will always matter. So no matter what you're doing, any album that you make sure that all the sides meet perfectly. And this glue, or this paper, actually takes a minute to catch for some reason. I think I say that in every video that I do use the craft cardstock, because it does take just a second. So I have to take a little bit longer, kind of make sure it sticks. Okay, so this is what our starting point. We're going to go ahead and add the pocket. What did I do with the pocket? Oh, this is the flap. That's the other flap. Okay, here it is. So this pocket is cut to 9 inches by 5 inches. You're going to score on the 9 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end, and then on the 5 inch side at 1/2 inch. And then I used my envelope punch board to make this notch. And so what is the middle of this? 4. So you're going to take your, to do this, you're first going to miter your corners. So in case you haven't seen me demonstrate this before, to add your notch, go ahead and fold on all of your score lines. And then you find the middle of the page. In this instance, since it's an 8-inch long piece, the middle is 4. So you're going to take your envelope punch board and you're going to stick it in and line it up at the number 4 mark, and then you're just going to punch it, which I've already done mine, and that's how you get that notch. You do the same thing when you go to mat your paper. You find the middle and then you punch the notch at that number. And I just like the way it looks. You could always just do a solid pocket, or you could add a border punch if you like. I don't like border punches on my pocket most of the time because I feel like it makes them too flimsy. But that's just personal preference. I think that they look beautiful, but I just feel like they're not very functional. Okay, So we've added this pocket to the bottom of that base page. Make sure your opening is still on this side. And then the only piece that goes with the front of this is that photo mat. So that's what these are for. So to make the photo mat, you're going to take one piece at 6.5 by 8.5 with no scoring, and then you're going to cut a piece at 6.5 by 9, and then you're going to score on the 9-inch side at 1/2 inch. All we're going to do is fold on that score line, and we're just going to attach it to the top of this, and that's it. I did round the corners on my photo mats because I just like the way that looked. You don't have to. Or use some other kind of decorative corner punch would be cute. And there is our insert. That's going to go inside this pocket. Like so. Now, when you're adding your pages to your book, you'll want to make sure and take this insert out and then add them back in, because you don't want them to get glued down on accident when you're gluing your pages to your hinges. Okay, now flip this over. Now on this piece I really didn't do anything. If I added a pocket, it was made out of the design paper. So instead I added an additional flap on this side, which I am going to take this out. I'm just going to stick it in this pocket here so I don't glue anything to it. And so this large flap that also goes on every single page that you make is cut to 7 inches by 8.5 inches, and then you score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and fold on that score line, and then I'm going to add my glue to the inside of the flap this time. And I'm just going to place this on the inside here of the base page, and I just centered it in the middle. And you can measure and mark and do it perfectly. I just eyeball it. So there's that flap. So these elements you create for every single base page that you're going to do, okay? So here's your front flap with your pocket. Turn it over, and then you have this flap. Now on the first page I didn't do anything over here. I used it for photo mats. So let's talk about the front of this. I did the smaller stacked pockets here. Let me grab those. Of course they're at the bottom of the stack. Let me put this aside. I keep messing with this. Right. Go away. Feel kind of scattered today for some reason. Okay, these are going to be cut to 3 inches by 5 1/4, and then you're going to score on the 3-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 5 1/4 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And then go ahead and miter those corners. And you're going to do that to all of them, but don't fold on all the score lines just yet. So for this one, what we're going to do, I am going to do use my envelope punch board. So on 2 of them, you're going to go ahead and fold on all the score lines. Just like so. And then on the other 2, you're just going to fold on the side score lines and leave that bottom score line unfolded. Now I'm going to add my notch, so I'm going to punch these at 2 1/8. So I didn't do this ahead of time, so I'm going to go ahead and do it now. I apologize for the noise and the shaky camera. My camera is sitting on my table. Okay. So now we're going to take our flap again, and I'm going to turn mine this way to add the stacked pockets because it's easier for me. On the two that you folded all the score lines, go ahead and add your glue to one. And you're just going to stick it down. I'm going to take the other, whoops, that's folded, and I'm going to kind of use it as a guide to make sure that I get this pocket where it needs to be. Okay. Sometimes if I don't do that, then I have a little gap in the middle because it's too far over on this side, or it's hanging over the flap or something like that. So that's why I like to kind of use it as a guide to measure. And then I'm going to add the glue on this side. And stick this one down right next to it. It's kind of hard to see, I think, on this paper. Maybe I should zoom in just a little. Okay, and then you're going to take your other two that you only folded in the two flaps and add your glue to both flaps. And these are going to stick inside, the flap will stick inside the pocket right up to the score line, and you'll stick it down. That will give you your stacked pocket. I'm getting glue everywhere. Same for this one. I just love these little stacked pockets. I always have. I've made them in my albums several times. Okay. Stick. All right. And there you go. There's our 4 stacked pockets with our little notches punched inside. So now when you go to punch your design paper, to cut your design paper, make sure that when you measure, like this pocket, you'll cut it at 2 1/4 by 4. But for this pocket, you're going to cut it more like at 3 inches by 4 so that it covers down underneath this, whatchamacallit, notch. Or maybe 2 7/8 might be enough. Okay? So that's the first page. Let's go into the second one. And to save time, I've already created all of the elements that go except for the top flat mat. So on this page, what I did is I did a pocket here. And on this pocket, I didn't do the envelope notch. I left it plain because I knew I'd want to use it for photo mats. So this pocket is cut to 5 inches by 9 1/2, and you're going to score on the 5-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 9 1/2 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And then miter your corners and fold on your score lines. The little piece of fuzz won't go away. And then I'm just going to glue this right down to this flap. And I'm going to make sure and keep about 1/8 of an inch gap here between this base page and where this pocket sits on this flap. You want to stay away from that score line so that that flap closes like it should and doesn't gape open. Okay. So I have a good 1/8 of an inch gap there, at least. Okay, now on this side I did the acetate pocket. Okay, so for the acetate pocket we are going to put this aside and we're going to cut 3 different pieces, 2 out of cardstock and then your 1 piece of acetate. And the acetate is going to be cut to 6 inches by 8 inches. And I have put score tape all the way around the side that I want to show on my pocket. So this is like a gold pattern and there's silver on the back. Okay, so let's talk about this piece first. This is the actual pocket, and you're going to cut this to 7 inches by 9.5. You're going to score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch, and then on the 9.5 inch side at 1/2 inch on each end. And then we're going to cut a 3/4 inch frame all the way around. So I've already drawn my lines. So make sure when you're drawing your lines for your frame that you take into account this gusset right here. So on your ruler, you're actually going to do it at 1 1/4 inch. So you'll measure 1 1/4 inch over from the edge of the paper to draw your lines where you have the hinges, but on the very top you'll just do it 3/4 of an inch. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to take my little cutting pad and I'm going to cut this out. And I don't use my ruler, probably should. It would be more straight that way, but I just don't because I'm usually in a hurry. This just makes a frame into your pocket so that you can place your acetate. Okay, so there's that. I actually used this and I cut it down to make a photo mat for my album, so you can do that if you like. I don't like to waste things. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my acetate. So I'm going to take off my score tape since I've already added it all the way around. Make sure that you don't have any tape overhanging, which, let's see, I did right here. And then I'm just going to do this face down. I don't really measure, I just make sure I get the same amount away from all the sides and I stick it down. And then just go ahead and use your bone folder to really press that tape down and secure it. You'll notice when you do that, the tape kind of changes colors. You can see like this is like a white, you probably can't see it on camera, but then when you press down on it, it really blends in with the cardstock. So now I'm going to miter my corners just like I would any other pocket. And I'm going to go ahead and fold on the score lines. I love that gold color. Of course, I love gold anything. And let's just test this to make sure it fits. So this is the flap where we had done the pocket. And now we're just going to add this directly onto this flap. So it should take up the length of the flap. So I'm going to put my glue on all corners, or all hinges, or whatever you want to say. Okay, stick it down. Give it a second to let it catch and dry. And I just like to keep pressing it with my fingers to make sure it gets attached really well. Okay, so there is your pocket. Now we're going to add the closure. For this piece, you're going to cut it at 2.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and you're going to score on the 2.5 inch side at 1/2 inch, and then again at 5/8 of an inch to give you a little gusset for this. So go ahead and fold on those, both score lines. Okay, so when you do that, you'll have a gusset that looks like this. Okay, and let's see, I like to add my glue. I'm going to add it to the inside and then do the flap over the pocket. So I'll show you that. Oops. And I'm going to put it right like this. Now make sure that you don't glue that gusset down. Oops. Just make sure it glues right up to the score line but doesn't go over that first score line. Okay. So gives it just a little bit of gusset so that you can put plenty of things in here. Now I did around the corners on mine to make it look more kind of like an envelope pocket. And what else? I did add a magnet to mine too. So to do that, what you would do is you would cut a piece of cardstock to say, you don't want it longer than the flap, so no more than 1.25 inches by, let's say 2 inches. So actually it'd be 2.5. It'd be 2.5 inches by 2 inches. And that way what you would do is take that piece. I don't have one cut. I'm going to use this large piece as a terrible example. So what I would do is if this were cut, I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to cut a piece to use as an example. So say this was my piece and it was cut to what I say 2 inches by 2.5 inches. You're going to fold it in half. And you can use decorative paper to do this if you want. And then you're going to put a magnet here on this side. You're going to put score tape all along here and over the magnet. And then you're going to stick this on the inside like so. And it will glue down here to the acetate. And then you will have your magnet here and your score tape, and then you'll fold it down. So your magnet will be hidden under this flap, and then you would put your other magnet here so that it will click together to close it. Does that make sense? So your magnet will be here, this will be glued down with score tape, and then you put your other magnet here and then your pattern paper on top of that. So hopefully that does make some kind of sense. Alright, so that's all I have for you, I believe. So I don't remember if I've mentioned this or not. I'm pretty bad about mentioning it, but if I didn't, all the measurements down are in the description box down below, so you can get the measurements from there if I went too fast on anything. I also have the measurements for the binding and the chipboard and anything else you might need, as well as the stacked pockets for the cover. So I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. And if you have any questions, just please feel free to leave me a comment. I really try hard, at least for the first few days, to check comments on my videos. I will be the first to admit that I am terrible about that, simply because, man, guys, I feel like I'm writing all the time. I just don't have time to constantly check and answer everyone, so I'm so sorry. But I will try to do the best that I can to answer you. So leave your comment, and that's all I have. Visit countrycraftcreations.com to purchase this awesome collection, and I'll see you next time.